Hey everyone, Byrd here, and welcome back to the channel. If you've been following along, you know that this has been quite the year. So the big four pattern companies filed for bankruptcy. Joann Fabrics closed all of their doors. Can you believe all of that happened in 2025? It is crazy. We had no idea just a few months ago about the future of Simplicity, McCall's, Vogue, Butter It, New Look, and Nomi. We had no idea. But today, I've actually got some really great news to share. I know this might seem crazy, guys, but I actually feel like I need to do a drum roll, but I'm not. So, this is what I want to share with you all. The brand new simplicity.com website is finally live. I received a email a little while ago from simplicity.com with a really amazing, wonderful, warm message from Abbie Small. That same message is also on the new website. So as you may remember, Abbie Small is now the executive vice president and general manager of Simplicity Pattern Inc. If you've been following this story, then you know what a ride it's been. The bankruptcy, the sale, the rebuild, it's been a lot. So honestly, seeing the new site up and running again feels like a big sigh of relief. And Abbie's message, I felt it was heartfelt. I thought it was honestly exactly what the sewing community needed to hear. She took a moment to thank the sewing community for pretty much sticking with them through all of the ups and the downs. She talked about how the team has been working behind the scenes to bring Simplicity back to what it's always been, a creative home for makers like us. She said that her goal is to create a place that supports all kinds of makers and creates the joy of sewing in every form. And you know what? For me, that just hits home. That's exactly what this community is about: creativity, inclusivity, and keeping the joy of sewing alive. Now, if you head over to simplicity.com, you'll notice a bright yellow banner that welcomes you right away. It's fresh, it's inviting, and it feels like a new beginning. And right on the home page, you'll see Abbie's full letter to the entire community. I'm actually going to drop a link in the description below so you can go and read the entire letter for yourself. I am just highlighting some of the pieces, but I do recommend that you go over to simplicity.com and actually read the entire letter. So in that letter, Abbie talks about how over the last few months, they have been rebuilding Simplicity from the ground up. Not just the website, but the systems, the logistics, everything. She says we can expect some bumps along the way as they continue to evolve and ramp things up, but that they're fully committed to making this a lasting success. Abbie also promised refreshed patterns, new updates, and a renewed commitment to both quality and community. But most importantly, she said we'll see a community that listens, learns, and grows right alongside you. That's the kind of language that gives me hope. It feels personal, genuine, and like they really are listening. Now, let's take a moment and rewind just a little bit and put all of this into context. Back in May 2025, IG Design Group Americas, which was the parent company of the Big Four, filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Then in June, they sold the company to Hilco Capital, which is a liquidation firm, which had all of us worried that this might be the end for our beloved pattern brands. But back in September, so just a couple months ago, 2025, the U.S. Bankruptcy Court approved the sale from Hilco to Rubelman Capital, which is a private equity firm that focuses on long-standing family-owned and legacy brands. And I get it, guys, that there are kind of different trains of thoughts as it relates to private equity firms, but I just want to share and get the information out to you. So it is a private equity firm that does focus on these type of legacy brands. And that's how we got to where we are now, Simplicity Pattern Inc., which is led by Abbie Small and her team, officially reborn as an independent pattern company. Abbie has a wide range of experience, having worked in so many parts of Simplicity over the years. She said that this sale was different from any other sale she's been a part of, and that at one point there was a real chance that the company could have been dissolved completely. But she stepped in, and with the support of Rubelman Capital, they managed to save the brand and to start fresh. Another good sign is that they're moving forward with new releases. I just saw a handful of new Nomi patterns for, I think it is the fall season, and they are from some of our favorite know me pattern designers, including Julian Creates, Nefertiti, Norris, and others. And I felt like the patterns and the designs were really, really fresh. So I'm very excited about that. Abbie also mentioned that Simplicity prints tissue patterns for many indie designers, and that is going to continue. This is important because as we have talked about before, DGA owned, no longer, but they own the only tissue paper printing machine in the US. So continuing that service helps keep the indie pattern world thriving as well. So let's be real. The closing of Joann Fabrics has had a massive impact on where we are today. It really changed the retail landscape for fabric and sewing. And even though Hobby Lobby still sells some patterns, they've gotten rid of a couple of the brands, but they still sell some patterns. And we also see that Michaels is expanding its fabric section. There's no true national fabric retailer anymore with the same footprint Joann's had. That's why this relaunch means so much, because it's proof that the sewing community still matters, that the brands we love can adapt and survive, and that creativity doesn't just fade away when the industry shifts. So where can you buy patterns right now? According to Abbie, Simplicity patterns are available on simplicity.com. You can do the PDF versions, and I know everybody has their own opinion about PDF versus tissue paper patterns. I'm good with either, but you can get tissue paper patterns actually mailed to you. You can also get PDF patterns on simplicity.com. You can also buy patterns, according to Abbie, at Walmart, Amazon, Hobby Lobby, and other places. She didn't specifically mention Michaels, but I am still holding on to hope that Michaels will actually begin to stop sewing patterns. I don't know. I've actually visited Michaels probably about a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, and I did not see any actual patterns except for like crochet or knitting patterns. They did have more fabric, not necessarily what I would call true garment fabric, but they were definitely expanding their fabric area. And for those who prefer digital layered PDFs, those are coming soon, which is really huge because we've been able to get layered PDFs through the independent world for a very long time. And let me just spend just a quick moment to talk about layered PDFs, because the last time that I shared this in my video, I got a couple questions. So the layered PDFs are really great because as you are preparing to print the PDF pattern, you don't have to print the entire size range. So if a pattern goes from, say, size 12 to size 20, you would normally have to print all of those, and then you have to look at all the different lines to determine which is your size, and you have to take additional care to make sure that you're cutting the right size. With layered patterns, if I need to cut a size 16, I just deselect the other sizes and just make sure that my size that I want to cut is selected, and then I just print off my size. So the layered PDFs are coming soon, and again, I think that that's really a big deal. Projector patterns, I understand, are on pause right now, but they're planning to revisit that once, I guess, everything kind of stabilizes. So what does all of this mean moving forward? It means the big four aren't disappearing. They're not being stripped apart or dissolved. They've been reborn as Simplicity Pattern Inc. with a mission to serve makers like you, makers like myself. It's not often that we get to see a story like this end on a hopeful note, especially in this industry. I mean, we've seen what this year has brought with Joann Fabrics and other places and other areas within the sewing world. So seeing these brands with over a century of history behind them step into a new era feels really, really special. All right, y'all, that's it for today's update. I wanted to jump on just very quickly to make sure that you were in the loop, because this is a huge moment for the sewing world. The new site is up, new patterns are out, and a new team is leading the way, and that's progress worth celebrating. If you happen to be new here, hello again. My name is Byrd. I love sharing sewing news, pattern updates. I do live sew-alongs as well. I love sharing just creative inspiration for sewists and makers. If this sounds like your vibe, please hit the subscribe button. Tap the like button as well. Turn on notifications so you know when I go live or when I drop another update. And for those that have been rocking with me for a while, you already know how much I appreciate you. Thank you so much for sticking around through all of the changes. We've seen the ups, we've seen the downs, and now finally some light at the end of the tunnel. So that's it for today. Thank you, everyone. Until next time, happy sewing.